What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Yokai Delinquents podcast. I am Sean, Bearded Capolitan.
And I am Jerry Robotingu Smith.
And we are here to once again chat it up. You may have noticed something different in our opening there. We decided to borrow a music from a recent delinquent gang Japanese movie franchise that me and Jerry have been enjoying here lately. I know we mentioned it before in an early episode, the High and Low movie series that is available on Netflix, and you should totally be watching most of them. One day when Jerry gets caught up, 'cause I think I've watched them all, and you are still a little behind.
I know. There's so much stuff to watch and get caught up on.
Of course. But that was Daruma Ika, which is Daruma is one of the D in the Sword series of gangs. They are all about festivals and kicking the shit out of people. And I know, Jerry, I think you said that was one of your particular favorite of the gangs.
Yeah. They're just their whole like appearance, and I mean the song that you just heard is just so great. I love their intro whenever they first introduce them too.
Oh, absolutely. And so we may be going through each of them maybe as different openers. We're going to play around with a little bit about at least getting some kind of theme song. But that is for a future time and
Actually,
discussion.
I've got one more thing, interesting thing about Daruma.
Oh, yes.
Do you know the significance of the Daruma head?
The Daruma itself? Is that not the drum?
Yeah. So no,
the festival.
The Daruma. So you know those like crazy like they're like the red heads with the little faces
on them.
Yeah. So that's what's called a Daruma
That's
doll.
a Daruma. Okay.
Yes, yeah. And it's a Daruma doll is a hollowed round Japanese traditional doll modeled after Buddha Dharma, the founder of the Zen tradition of Buddhism.
Which, for some of those out there, now that Jerry reminded me exactly what they are real quick. If you have seen the movie Spirited Away with Onibaba, who's running the bathhouse, she had those things following her around, bouncing. Those were the Darumas.
Right. Yeah, I forgot about those.
Yeah, she had Daruma following her around. So that's why, as soon as you said, I knew what it was. For those who still may not be looking up on Google while listening, if you've seen Spirited Away, that's the best I got for you. Sorry, Jerry. Continue.
Yeah. No, it's fine. It's perfectly good. One of the interesting things about a Daruma doll, and one of the things that they're used for in Japan, is whenever you first get one, their eyes are blank, right?
Right.
And what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to fill in one of the eyes and basically select like a goal or a wish or something that you want to achieve. So you color in an eye, and then once it's desired or you achieve your goal or whatever, you color in the other eye.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is interesting. I wonder if we ever see any prominently displayed one-eyed Daruma. They just put a scar over the other one because they just completely gave up on their dream.
Right. I looked that up after going to one of our favorite ramen places here, Kazuki Ramen.
Oh.
They have like a wall of Daruma dolls, and I started noticing, because I noticed shit like this. Some of them had eyes filled in, and some of them only had one eye filled in, and stuff like that. So I was like, what is the significance of that? So I looked it up, and that is what I found out. So
wow,
I don't know.
That's awesome.
I've really been kind of wanting to get one of those and maybe put some a goal or something on it. Maybe get one for the podcast.
Oh, for sure. That's awesome, man.
Set some goals for the podcast.
Yeah, we definitely got some goals. We got plans. We're laying down plots and schemes to hopefully keep you good people out there listening to us. But, so, y'all have heard something interesting, but I'm still going to ask, Jerry, what you want to talk about today.
So, I've got one topic that's kind of been something that I've, always sort of thought about, like kind of, hey, I wish that this was a thing. And I was just kind of curious on what yours is, and I'll go first, just to give you time to think about yours.
All right.
But what manga or anime series, and I guess this is kind of like an interesting, like, so what manga doesn't have an anime that you wish had an anime, or what anime that like didn't really, maybe only went for 20 episodes or something like that and never got any more, do you wish that they would finish off with, what how much of the manga story is out?
Oh yeah, yeah, no, no,
Yeah.
that's a good one because oh my God, y'all sit back.
Yeah.
No, I got a few, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you go. Go ahead and go.
Okay. So I've got two of my biggest ones that come to mind for
Yep.
sure that made me think of this question. Anime that I wish would have kept going, or they would like at some point make a new thing for, um, is Air Gear. Have you ever heard of Air Gear?
I watched a few of the early episodes. I don't remember exactly how many, but I did. I watched it a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it was for those of you that do not know, it was a manga that came out about basically rollerblading, but it wasn't just like regular rollerblading. They had these special high tech rollerblades with like gears for the in the wheels that made them like go the more weight you put on them. So like it was this whole like crazy thing of people flying through the air and like doing all kinds of crazy tricks and stuff. And of course they had like groups, like almost like gangs, teams that would all skate together and stuff, and they all had like their own little symbols and stuff they would put on stickers and tag things, and then eventually it got into this thing of them there being like this huge like battle that they would do,
Right.
and like one of the big teams would go out and battle these other really big, named teams to make a name for themselves. And it got fucking wacky. Let me tell you, they had a battle on a freaking like a one of those giant ships, the aircraft carrier ships,
Right.
while it was being blown up and stuff. They had a battle on top of the wings of jets while they were flying.
Oh,
Like
Jesus.
this series got way more than what you thought it was, in the very beginning, because you thought like, oh, they're just some people, they're doing these little battles and stuff, and they went like above and beyond with the art in the manga, and they did an anime for it. I think it only went like maybe 20 episodes, 25 episodes total, which is like your standard, like this manga isn't done, so we have to come up with an ending for it type deal, right?
Right. Which is
So yeah.
a common issue, unfortunately, with a lot of anime that's like
Hmm.
gets ahead of a slow kind of paced manga.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to remember there was something about Air Gear. I remember I know I either read or watched a couple of the chapters, and
Hmm.
I was trying to remember what it was. And I remember it kept pop. Why I keep seeing it pop up, and
Hmm.
I finally remembered it was uh that it had a little bit like a lot of anime. It had a little etchiness to it, a little fan
Oh
service,
man, there was
and
so much.
was there a
Yeah,
lot more? Okay, I remember there being
there was
some. Yeah.
quite a bit of fan service.
And the anime, because anime has creative ways of censoring the boobage or the panty shots or whatever they want to do for television, and even
Hmm.
sometimes even on the actual like home video releases of them. But
Hmm.
Air Gear particularly just had random birds staring at
Hmm.
you, flying in front of them.
Right.
I thought that was just funny. Other than the random ray of light or the smoke out of nowhere, that they were just like bird right there. No booze for you, bird of denial.
Yeah, and it was funny because like the main character and everything, like their whole theme for their team was like a crow.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and so like anytime there was any kind of like accidental nudity or anything like
hmm
that, even the main character, there would be like a crow covering his
yeah.
junk or whatever.
That's
Like it
yeah.
was,
It was
yeah,
specifically a crow. Yeah, I remember
yeah,
that sticking out. Just thinking that was funny. You know.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember it had like potential. I couldn't tell you why I stopped watching it, other than maybe it didn't hook me. I had more
Hmm.
shows that were interesting at the time, but it seemed like it was fun. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's one I definitely. How about we? You want to go back and forth on this,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
we can?
yeah. No, if you got something,
Because I've got one as a common complaint. Well,
I
from
think
me,
I
if
might
you
know what it
if
is.
y'all know me, you know what's up. During this manga's run, there was times I was reading it before I read One Piece
Hmm.
when it came out.
Hmm.
This, known in Japan as history's strongest disciple, Kenichi.
Hmm.
Known here in the States as just Kenichi, the mightiest disciple. Now, granted, it got a 50 episode run, which is better than most. You know, a lot of anime doesn't go. That's basically like 2 seasons. But here's what you have to keep in mind. There's 583 chapters of this manga, and that's to completion. Like, he told his whole story. And it's an amazing run. Now, granted, the material, like as we just mentioned, there was ecchi in our thing as fan service. Not full on porn, but sometimes they touch the borders, and Kenichi
Hmm.
touched that border in the later chapters, which probably stopped it. But like I never felt like the anime did it justice. Like it had good art, but not great animation, if that makes sense. And for a fighting, it's a battle manga. It's a kind of more mature shonen manga about martial arts. And if your animation is making these fight scenes look great, then it just looks like kind of a which to me is that counterbalance to the, maybe even too much for some of the fan service. But like when you have awesome fighting, to me that's a nice balance. And that's like it's just one of my absolute favorites. So not only is it a crime it only got 50 episodes of a mediocre adaptation of an anime,
Right.
we've never even gotten an English translation officially of the manga.
Hmm.
So that's a twofer for me.
Oof,
Because yes,
man.
I had to read it by nefarious means because no
Hmm.
legal service is offering this book. 61 volumes, it's done. It ended in 2002. And they've never brought it out over here. Even and then we've got books that are far worse as far as like violence and nudity
Yeah.
out there. And to not even get it, like I think they translated it in French and Italian, two languages. I don't know if you know this. I don't speak. so
What?
so like I've read it all illegally. Yes, like we have all had to be there at some point in our
Yeah.
lives. And I've read it all. I know the story. I love the story. I would rebuy every single volume if they'd ever release it. So not only is it not like it needs more anime, because we got the
Mhm.
anime, but we need the fucking manga over here too. So
Right.
that's my first and usually my top complaint because we've taken many trips to Barnes and Noble and when we had a Books a Million out here in North Little Rock, the first thing I was looking for every time we went to the manga section, just hoping.
Yeah. No, I knew that was going to be your first.
Yeah.
100%. I was like, yep, it's going to be Kenichi.
Oh, you know it. You know it.
My okay, so my all-time biggest manga that I have read that I wish would get an anime. Um and it kind of sucks because the manga has been on extended hiatus, so that's also sad because it was just so fucking good, and it's by one of my favorite artists in manga, and that's Takahiko Inoue,
Hmm.
and it's the Vagabond series.
Oh
It
yeah,
is
yeah.
yes, yes. It is his story of Masashi Miyamoto, the story and life of Masashi Miyamoto, and it also has Sasaki Kojiro, who later on down the road, that's like their arch rivals and stuff like that. But just like to see the journey of swordsmanship and just like the character of Masashi as he goes from like this sort of like living in the fucking hills, just this barbarous kid to the renowned swordsman that he
Right.
becomes and the legend and everything. Not to mention they bring up a lot of other characters that were like really prominent for the time that it took place. It was just too amazing to not ever get an anime. It's something that I wish they always did. His other really big series that Takiko has done is Slam Dunk, which I'm sure you've heard of,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
and then he did another basketball series, which I actually haven't read those, but like I said, I've bought art books and stuff like that, just because I love his freaking art so much. He's also done Real, which
Hmm.
started in '99 and it's still currently running. Vagabond actually started in '98, and it's still currently going, even though it's on hiatus right now.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Yeah, I've heard very good things about Vagabond.
mhm.
Sadly, never. I've never actually sat back and read it. I see the manga. The art's fucking gorgeous,
Yeah.
and yeah, like I didn't even know it was about Musashi. So that's
Mhm.
you're really making me want to go out and get it now.
Yeah, and like they did the which I know he must have taken some of it from it, but the samurai series that Akira Kurosawa did,
Yeah.
they line up pretty close together.
Okay.
So but there's like a whole lot more characterization and more time to get used to all the characters in the manga than watching the movies. But I still highly recommend those movies.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
but yes, my second one is Vagabond because it's so good.
All right. No, no, yeah, that's definitely one. Like like for some reason, every time I think of Vagabond, I also think
Mhm.
about uh oh Lord, I'm gonna go blank. It just got an anime on about the Regenerator samurai
Oh,
live action and an anime now.
oh yes.
Um,
Oh,
right.
uh, what was the Takashi Miike directed it?
Yeah, yeah. But
Uh,
for some reason, I get them confused. Like when I think about it, now I gotta make sure I definitely remember it, as I hear you clicking, so I know you're looking it up for me. Wow,
Blade of the Immortal.
Blade of the Immortal. For some reason, I get
Yes.
Vagabond and that mixed up in my head for no good reason. It's just
Right,
like
right.
I see Vagabond, like, oh, they're just talking about Blade of the Immortal for some fucking reason. I
Mhm,
couldn't tell you why,
mhm.
but okay, yeah, I think I got those separated in my head now, and I'm definitely. I need to get in more. I need to finish Blade of the Immortal anime as well as maybe like I know they got some omnibus they got the first volume at a Kapow, and like I'm waiting on a short week where I have
Mhm.
money and not enough books.
Yeah,
I might grab it up. I
yeah.
don't,
They've been re-releasing those lately. I've been tempted to pick them up too.
dude. Omnibus have become my man. I'm starting to prefer them, even although I'm still getting my monthly every 2 month whenever manga gets released over here. Because I
Hmm.
got some that release on different schedules. But like I've shared on social media my Berserk omnibus, and those are fucking great. And I'm gonna get to that. That's actually another one on my list, but it's not next.
Right,
Because Berserk I
right.
got fucking issues with too. But number two. Now again, I'm breaking a rule in a way because you were saying like stuff that hasn't gotten an anime.
Well, I said stuff that hasn't got an anime or has got an anime and has not finished.
Well, that definitely fits into the second part then on this
Yep.
one. Known as Gundam in Japan, better known as Battle Angel Alita here in America.
Uh,
Got an
it's
OVA in the 90s, 3 episodes, which covered the first maybe volume, maybe two at most of the manga. And there's, I believe, like 10 volumes. There's so much, like the movie went further than this 45 minute, like hour and a half long, like OVA. Going into the into the rollerball. If y'all have seen the movie where she goes in, Gally, the main heroine, goes in that deal with all that. Which the movie pretty much with a little bit extra going into her rollerball era thing covered a bit what the OVA did, but there's so much into the world where she just goes out, explores. I mean, it turns into like Fist of the North Star of her traveling the wastelands outside the city, and just like one of the coolest fucking weapons you could ever imagine. Now, like we've seen, if you've seen the movie at least, she gets the blade hooked to her arm, which is a great underhand sword style for rollerball.
Mhm.
When she's fighting in the wastelands, she eventually
Well,
gets
did you just reference Rollerball?
I did reference Rollerball, I'm not even talking about the shitty ass movie. Oh, which
Oh, okay.
not even talking about the movie. All
Wasn't
the
Keanu in that movie?
fuck if I know. I know Slipknot was performing in the lobby of their arena. That's about all I remember from that shitty remake of a
Oh,
shitty movie from the 80s or 70s.
perfect.
But the roller death ball games that she played. But what I'm getting to
Hmm.
is like it's such an epic story, and I want to see animated that she eventually had. I mean, the size of a polearm weapon, a butterfly knife.
Ooh, damn.
Flip had to flip it open and everything, but it's like the size of a spear. You know what I mean? Like
That's,
it's a
that's
huge
awesome.
butterfly knife. That's one of the coolest little details. It's like who thinks that awesome shit? And besides, I need more Battle Angelita because it's just not looking like we're gonna get a sequel to what, in my opinion, is the best anime live action adaptation
Man, it was so
the
good.
states and arguably even Japan, although they've
Mm-hmm.
gotten better. Japan ain't been good at adapting anime and manga to live action either, but definitely the best we've ever done, and it ranks up there with some of even the best Japanese adaptations. So yeah,
Right.
Gundam slash Battle Angel Alita needs more anime.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I totally agree on that one. If they just did even a bunch of OVAs or
Yeah,
something, you know.
I mean like it needs high quality, animation like they all do. We don't need any what was that, Seven Deadly Sins season 3 Flash animation that they did on Netflix. I don't think you
Oh,
watched it either. I've never watched it, but I got YouTubers I watch and they talked about it and it looks. I'm glad I never got into it.
yeah. Oh, yeah. That's no, that's one that I never got into, and I think it's just the hype that's like kind of killing it for me.
Yeah, yeah, I
Like
can see that.
I'll wait for it to die down and then maybe jump on it or something. That's what I said about Attack on Titan, but we haven't gone back to that now, have we? Um,
I'm waiting for it
so
to end, and I might watch all of Attack on Titan once. I know
right,
the last season's coming on here soon. I'm probably just gonna marathon it one weekend or something.
I gotcha. So another one that I wish got more seasons, OVAs,
Mm-hmm.
fuck, even movies cataloging all the greatest hits of it.
Yeah.
Gantz,
Oh yes. You
yes.
know what? Sorry. Go ahead. This was your
Uh,
pick, but I feel
written
strongly about this too.
written and illustrated by Hiroya Oku. Gantz. It's just this fucking wild and amazing supernatural slash science fiction story that starts off with two characters getting absolutely obliterated by a subway train. And then they're transported to this room, and it's funny because it's just like your normal Japanese style like apartment room, and there's this giant black ball in it, and it essentially gives them nicknames, gives them an enemy name, and then teleports them to the zone where they have to hunt like some kind of thing, like being or something like that.
Yep.
And then it's just, man, it's so wild. There's so many emotions, and it leaves you hanging all the time. It's so great.
Now, see, this one is going to go into what, like, I think once if we run out, I kind of already got planned a question for you, but we're going to stick with the subject at hand right now because I got more.
Okay.
But
Oh, I've got more too. I
yeah,
could
I'll
do
say
this all day.
I'll see you tomorrow when we're still doing this. Uh, but okay, well, I'll go ahead and say it, and we might get into this. Might be another like variation on your same question.
Mhm.
This has an anime. It went,
Mhm.
I want to say, almost like 50 episodes. Again, kind of like
Mhm.
Kenichi.
Right.
But I want a do over because it was a shitty adaptation. I'm not talking
Yeah.
just bad
It
because
was
complaints.
26 episodes, sir.
Only 26. Okay, it felt like a
Yep.
fucking eternity because
Yeah.
like the art looked nothing like the manga, which it doesn't always happen, but they usually try to get close and like the artist has a very unique look. You know his art when you see it. And
Right.
this didn't look anything like it. 26 episodes is not enough to really convey because the main character is such a piece of shit at the beginning of the
Yeah.
story. And the
Oh yeah.
major part of the appeal is you see his growth, but it's not
Hmm.
quick. It is not quick, and it's definitely not in 26 episodes. So, like, that alone really hurt it. Because I didn't even realize that our good buddy Russ Galusha sent me that anime, and I felt so bad when I told him how horrible it was, because I never watched it. I've only read it.
Yeah,
You know, and again,
yeah,
kind of like with Kenichi, I actually read it first. I had to read it nefariously, but now I'm buying the omnibus because that one got translated, and it's way more
yeah.
graphic than Kenichi. Again, sorry to go back to that. You know, this is my rage. This is what's in my
Mm.
soul. But it's an excellent manga that had a horrible anime, but a decent OVA that's available on Netflix. The fully CG one, the Osaka arc.
Yeah, and
Uh,
so it went from uh, this was at 2000 all the way to 2013,
yeah,
with a total of 383 chapters.
yeah. Oh, it's an epic
Yeah,
in the
and
realest form of it.
highly recommend picking up those omnibuses that they released. And I will at least say, if you want a random amazing taste of how just insane and violent this series can get, hop on over to Netflix and check out, was it Gantz Zero?
Yeah.
Uh,
Actually, I think it's technically supposed to be Gans O
Gantz O,
because
gotcha. Oh,
it's
because
Osaka.
Osaka, gotcha.
Yeah, yeah.
That makes more sense. Yeah.
I mean,
So
I think we
Gantz
both said
O,
zero at first too, because
yeah,
then we realized, at least I realized it. Yeah.
yeah. You'll be super confused what's going on. The characters won't really make a lot of sense,
No, no.
but just jump in along for the ride because holy shit! Like, and it's man, I think that story arc probably takes place. I don't know, what would you say, a fourth into the manga, or a third into the manga, maybe.
If that. I mean, like,
Yeah.
yeah, it was. No, it's because each arc is pretty damn long into itself. You know what I mean? So it's kind of hard to really say. But yeah, that the Osaka arc is yeah, not. I don't think it's even the halfway point. Maybe the
Yeah.
halfway point. Because
Yeah.
I'm really trying to remember because I don't I don't think I've even gotten to there in the omnibus yet.
Hmm.
Good
Yeah.
lord. So yeah, it's
It's
later in the
pretty
series
long.
for sure, but like it is something you can just get into. You know what I mean? It's 100%. Like watch it for what it is, and if you're really interested, find the manga. Avoid the anime.
Yeah, yeah, seriously. Highly recommend manga. Hopefully one day, some studio will be like, you know what, we need to make this, and we get that
Right.
fucking anime.
All right. Well, my next one is a manga that has not gotten an anime, and
Hmm.
also another one I'm going to complain about because I've only been able to read it by nefarious means, which
Okay.
I've quit reading it because I quit going to these sites, and to my knowledge, it's
Hmm.
still going. But it's from I'm trying to be good like you did and actually acknowledge the creators here.
Yeah.
Story and art is by Yasushi Baba. It is
Oh.
called. Damn it! I just lost it.
Oh
All right, all
no.
right. I'm looking at the page and like there's so much information. Karate Shokushi Kohinata Minoru. What it's about is a student going into college is looking for a different sport. He was actually ranked really high in gymnastics, but he always got teased for it. So he actually finds karate. So basically, like the long and short of it is, picture someone with the flexibility and body control of a world class gymnast now kicking you in the face. Like he goes into like the Shotokan, like the more full contact karate, but he's got like ridiculous agility and stamina, and it's just it's a super good manga. It's I mean there's not big it's a sports martial art manga, and which y'all can also tell I read a lot of martial art manga.
Right.
uh,
What?
I know,
No.
right? I love my fight manga, and I like it when it's not just we can get into that. That's a whole other subject about the cut and paste of a lot of fighting manga. But this one is it feels like a sports show. You know what I mean? Like it feels like you're watching tournaments. And if anyone who's ever taken martial art classes, you know that difference between watching like Dragon Ball Z or even One Piece and them using their martial arts versus watching something that's like set in reality. And that
Right.
brings a whole new whole new take on it. And this one is a fantastic one that has never been translated here legally. nor has gotten an anime. So unfortunately, and I don't support the legal sites, but as we've discussed in the past, this is how manga and anime got here. Really, it at least
Mhm.
blew up in our era. So if you're about that, and I don't blame you if you don't, but I don't blame you if you do, check out Karate Shokushi Konihara Minoru.
Is there a translation for that? I guess not, since I never
Uh,
translated it over here, huh?
Like it's probably shortened to a Minoru, Karate Minoru, maybe. I would imagine they maybe would change that because Ko- Kohinata Minoru is the main character, so that I can see
Mm,
how instead of History of Strongest Disciple Kenichi, they shortened it to Kenichi the Mightiest Disciple. I could see it being called maybe like Karate Minoru or something like that. But yeah,
right.
no. On my anime list, I don't see any kind of like a shortened thing. So unfortunately, also when we discuss anime and manga, especially the Japanese stuff, you ain't getting a shortened version. Let's not. We're not even. Hopefully, we're not going to talk about any light novels.
Oh God, that we'd be here all day.
Right.
Um,
Exactly.
okay, so the next one I've got, and I know we are both familiar with,
Ooh.
um, they have made live action movies about, but never an anime. And I, for the life of me, have no idea why this was never, ever, ever turned into an anime. And that is Battle Royale.
Oh.
Yeah, written by Kushun Takami and illustrated by Masayuki Taguchi. Yeah, another, and I'm starting to notice a trend of these, like us mentioning these really fucked up, like violent series, and them
Yeah.
not getting anime. So maybe there's something to that. Um, but essentially, what Battle Royale is about, and I will kick your knees in if you mention Hunger Games.
Yep.
I'm just kidding. Uh, so it's about was it every so many years they have this thing called the program in Japan, and what they will do
Oh.
is they will
Every
take
year.
yeah once a year,
Just
yeah,
once a year.
once a year.
That's a major plot point. I'm not going to spoil that one, but yeah, it's a
I
major plot
guess
point.
I guess it goes. They do it by seasons.
Yeah, they do it once a year with randomly picked. That's the
Yeah,
big. That's the other big thing. But sorry, continue. Continue.
no, yeah, no, you're good. So they will pick one random. Was it a sixth grade class,
It's junior
or
high.
is
I
it
want to say like
junior?
ours would be like seventh or eighth grade. I want to say
Yeah,
because
yeah,
they're like 15-year-olds technically.
gotcha. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and say eight, eighth year,
Yeah, yeah,
eighth grade. They will pick one random class. So I guess say they're going on a field trip. Basically, gas them. They wake up in a sketchy place, and they are then told that they have to kill each other to the last person before time runs out or everyone dies.
yep.
And you essentially get a bag that has some survival gear and one weapon in it. And then every morning they have intercoms that will tell them of grids that are blacked out. Now, the importance of the grids being blacked out is they also have an explosive device in their neck that will
Yeah,
go off if you're in a blackout zone or if there's more than one person left over at the end of the program.
yeah.
And man, the series is brutal and emotional, and it like takes you in places that you did not think you were going to go in this.
No,
It is
absolutely.
pure survival.
And at this point, I'm shocked it hasn't gotten an anime, to be honest, because it was, if I'm not mistaken, the publishing order actually was the novel, the movie, then a manga.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like, and not I mean, two movies actually, and actually they even had a spin-off manga where they did it again with team battles. I heard it wasn't as
Hmm.
good, so I kind of honestly
Yeah,
I haven't read that one. But yeah, it's I'm surprised though. Again, when we're talking about the mature stuff, there's plenty of mature anime out there.
right.
And while granted, this one with one of the characters, her survival tactic, which really goes into, which is a big thing about this whole situation, is you're seeing how this, and it's a large group of, like, if y'all don't know about Japanese classrooms, I mean there's like 20 kids in a class, there's at
Hmm.
least or something like that. It's a large number of students, and what this series really explores by putting them in this horrendous situation and seeing how they act. It's also kind of shows because this is a alternate future Japan. Like it's
Hmm.
very like well we always heard about like say communist Russia, maybe even China, where like restrictions like you can't listen to rock and roll music.
Yeah.
Television is very set to strict guidelines. So like and all these kids want to rebel, but they're growing up in these really strict things, and that's what the program is about. Is to show that the government can do whatever the fuck they want to you.
Yeah, essentially just imagine America if the Trump administration had been given 4 more years. And you pretty much got it, right?
Wow, we went political on it. But that's all right. All right, you're a host. I'm allow it. So what he's saying is, 4 more years, and we would have been our junior high kids would have been getting sent to an island.
Sent to the
You know
program.
what? I'm gonna say it. I can't say I disagree with you, but yeah. So picture that, and then what you get because there's very extremes in this, which is why a lot of people have issues. Like the movie, which was honestly a tame adaptation.
Right,
Because
yeah.
like now, granted, it was like they were playing 15-year-olds killing each other, and one of
Mhm.
which who grew up in a sexually abusive home and just only ever knew how to use like her body to get what she wants. So there's stuff like
Mhm.
that going on in there. But what it is, I believe the point was always to show what we all go to when we're put in that kind of a situation, the capabilities,
Mhm.
and based on our own environment and our own backgrounds. Because no one's like,
Right.
she's not just the class slut. Is like you learn about her. Even though she's
Mm.
and this character was a particular terrible character because like she enjoyed the killing, which also
Right.
what you see. So even the students who you think are the troublemakers who you think would thrive, they're not thriving there because they're bad kids, sure, but they're not murderers, And then some of the ones
Right.
who seem like academically inclined and smart, really fucking good at murdering their classmates. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah, you kind of get all those different like people, and it really pushes a lot of the characters to their limits. Because I mean, you've got characters that are like really good at martial arts. They're
Yeah,
like, oh, I got to survive and make it to my friends, as soon as possible and help them out. Or kids that are somewhat good at sports and stuff. And then you have of course, your main character, is sort of your average kid, but he's
yeah,
like, I will do whatever I can to survive, and it really pushes all of the characters to their limits, essentially.
right. And like in the
Yeah,
main character whose name is escaping me at the moment, but there is like again like 35 students.
yeah.
um, hit,
Shuya Nanahara.
Shuya, there it is. Uh, he starts off and he maintains most of the way through the thing of like I want everyone to live. We're gonna figure out a way to beat this. But
Hmm.
then
Yeah.
you learn. Unfortunately, at times you gotta play the game. And yeah,
Hmm.
it's a fantastic story. Very graphic, like I said, very mature. But I'm shocked it hasn't gotten at least some form of anime adaptation. Yeah,
Right.
that's a very good.
And it's kind of one of those things. A lot of people will compare it to the Hunger Games and stuff like that, which like I feel like they're just like in two completely different arenas, right? Because in Hunger Games, it's already like crazy dystopia, and they have like this whole class system with
Yeah,
like different, it like the world is pretty much destroyed as they know it to some of these people in some of these sections and stuff. In Battle Royale, like everybody's like can make their own way, like they have some bit of freedom, they all live in
right.
the same city and stuff like that. And nobody's really immune to these games in that, as far as like the students and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, no,
So, and not to mention, like, you're not using bows and arrows and swords and stuff. I mean, some of them are, but they have like fucking firearms and grenades and all kinds of crazy shit like that in
right.
Battle Royale.
Yeah, because that's one thing we didn't mention was each student is let out with a duffel bag with like some supplies and a
Oh, I
random
mentioned that.
weapon.
I
Huh?
mentioned that.
The random weapon?
Yeah, yeah. I said one random weapon.
My mistake.
Oh my gosh, listen to me every once in a while. But yes, to reiterate, uh, duffel bag
Sorry.
supplies a map and one single random weapon, and it could be anything from like an AK-47 to a fucking fork. Spoiler alert.
Right. And that was really the more I was getting to like how it could be
Yeah.
legit or a complete bullshit weapon, which
Yeah.
makes it very tough to survive
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah. And yeah, so definitely recommend reading it. good lord, I wish it had an anime though.
Oh no, absolutely.
Yeah.
My next one is going to be one I'm sure we've said on the show, but I'm going to go ahead and
Hmm.
throw out one so I'm not listing yet another martial art manga that no one else has read. Which, just for the side record, All Rounder Megaru, an MMA manga that's never been translated here either, needs an anime adaptation. Excellent MMA stuff. But the one that Jerry will agree with me on is,
Hmm.
have you heard of this little series called My Hero Academia?
Oh yes.
Well, we all know that has an anime adaptation, but
Yeah, I
did
was
you know
about to say, what are you talking
but
about?
there's a spin-off manga called My Hero Academia Vigilantes that a couple of podcasters may have dressed up as characters from on a Halloween special.
Yes.
That needs an adaptation more and more so as this goes on.
Yeah, seriously.
Like,
Like, I will be amazed by the time it ends if we don't have something announced for it. Like,
yeah,
some kind of spin off, just, I don't know, some kind of anime or movie or OVA or something. Give me
uh,
just a little bit of something.
honestly, now that we've gotten into, and I'm not even gonna say it because My Hero's still going on in the anime, the manga I feel is wrapping up, but maybe if only temporarily. But I'm not gonna say it. Although I know we've said it before. Like there's certain characters who are getting origin stories in Vigilantes you're not getting in My Hero Academia.
Right.
One major one is actually everyone's favorite teacher, Eraserhead. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you want his origin. You want to see what he was like when he was younger. You need to be reading Vigilantes, which at least is getting translated here. You
Mm-hmm.
know, legally, all the current volumes are that have been translated are available. You know,
Yeah,
or
and even even if you didn't want to buy the single volumes, you could just sign up for Shonen Jump and read them that way.
yeah, you can read them all digitally, and that's up to the current chapters.
Hmm.
That needs and unfortunately, a movie or an OVA just won't cut it because there's so much in there that's not directly tied to My Hero, but it's
Hmm.
tied to My Hero.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, while like there's settings within this one because it's technically a prequel. You know, even though it goes on, you know, it's happened before the current events of My Hero Academia, but not that far behind.
Yeah. It definitely doesn't seem like it because we've definitely seen Zuko's mom, and she's
Yeah.
basically in the same she looks the same as she does when Izuku was like a little kid, right? Or
Yeah.
a little bit more
Well,
grown.
she's already put on weight. Is the only way to say it. You know, when
Hmm.
after which is kind of a later thing because no, actually now that I'm thinking about it, because there's a man. I guess it is actually a little while further back than I'm thinking of because there's a. I don't want to really get into it too deep because I don't know how much she's been in the anime yet either. There's a current new hero that's gotten a lot of spotlight in the recent manga,
Hmm.
and we're now seeing her before she's a pro hero.
Yeah.
So yeah, so maybe it is a few years, but we do see Midoriya's mom in like the first
Mm.
chapter. You know, just the good old crawler helping with directions.
And then, of course, we've got pre UA Eraserhead.
Yeah,
So
which
it's
even
got to
that,
take place
yeah,
at least a few years. We don't know how long he was teaching
right.
there. So
But even
it was
that though is
definitely
like a
before he was teaching.
flashback within this series. No, they flash back
Yeah.
to him in high school, which even in this
Hmm.
series he shows up. He's already a pro hero.
Yeah.
So, but we
Yeah.
do get a flashback because he gets involved, and you get to see him and President Mike, you know, back in high school with someone else who's a factor in My Hero Academia without giving away stuff. And
Right.
I know we've said if you want to see Stain's origin, you need to read Vigilantes. So
Oh, yes.
that's a
Yeah.
big one for me.
No, it was quite the reveal whenever they showed that off.
Oh yeah,
So the next one I have, God help them, they have made anime for back and forth, different companies, different animation styles. It a lot of them have never really touched on some of the stuff that I want to see for it.
yeah,
One of them did, but then I'm pretty sure just ended because it looks. I think it only went. Let's see. The last one we had went from 2016 2017, which wasn't too long ago. And that's Berserk. You
yeah.
mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
I'll say it again. I really wish that we just had a dedicated fucking Berserk anime series that just went full on, like no holds bars, and showed us everything.
Dude, yeah. Because like, while granted, like I never watched the '90s anime adaptation,
Hmm.
which I'm pretty sure only covered the Golden Age
Yeah.
arc, and now we had the Netflix sponsored CG one or cell
Hmm.
shaded. I find it unwatchable.
Yeah.
It's like we mentioned before about how anime adaptations may not always capture like the art or the feel. This
Hmm.
one's not even fucking trying, in my opinion. I don't know who okay. Like the movies are a little better. At least the series, as far as I could watch it, and I did watch a good chunk of it. Got out of the Golden Age arc at least, which is all like every time the scenes they want to restart, they go back to it.
Yeah.
Which I understand that whole arc is super important and iconic for sure. But yeah, and like it needs a proper anime adaptation that's going to have quality animation, mature animation, and not this CG cell shaded bullshit. Which sometimes it can work. Like
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
current shows that use CG and they use it well. Like the
Oh
animation's
yeah.
fluid and nice, like Beef Stars on Netflix, and
Hmm.
Kenren
Doro
Ashura.
did
Was that?
as well. Doro Hedoro.
Yeah, right, right. Like it can be done, but they're just choosing not to with Berserk. I don't fucking know. Like,
It was a little weird. I did get used to it though, and I mean the 2016 stuff that they put out. So I didn't know this at first until I actually clicked on this. But they did the Golden Age arc, which actually came out from 2012 to 2013, and then the next thing that they released, the 2016 to 2017 series, was actually a sequel to that.
right.
So I guess if you want to start from the beginning and then get to some of the more present content, then you could watch those if you dare, depending on how you feel about the animation.
Right.
Um, but they actually showed like one of the arcs that was like the craziest shit with the church and everything.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
with the eclipse and stuff, that
Right.
was some insane shit.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm reading it. I'm finally sitting down and reading it. Because like I don't know the art on my phone on through nefarious methods. The last time I tried reading it, my phone screen just doesn't capture the glory of this man's art. So like I'm
Right.
really loving these deluxe size omnibus that I've been getting. So yeah, I definitely need a fucking anime adaptation that's properly done. Just because it gets so crazy at times, and his art's gorgeous and it works and it's fine. But there's some scenes I just really want to see animated. And like I said,
Hmm.
the eclipse alone would be like give it the UFO table or one of those
Hmm.
animation companies like UFO table does a Demon Slayer, or whenever they have the high budget episode of My Hero Academia, or like give us that with that eclipse arc with when all hell literally breaks loose,
Yeah.
and I need that. I need that eyegasm with how that should and could be animated.
Hmm.
My
Oh,
next one oh sorry, yes, we have more.
no, no, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. My next one is I think you're reading it. It's a current one, and that's
Hmm.
Spy Family. Or
Oh yeah.
or for those who read certain mangas, keep calling it Hunter X Hunter, Spy X Family. The X is silent. Is a hilariously awesome action comedy from Tatsuya Endo about a super spy nickname or codenamed Twilight, who's under a mission that's going to require him to have a family. So through he's very like by the book. He's very good, and he ends up like he finds a woman that would be he thinks would be perfect for his wife. If I'm remembering correctly, he's not aware that she's an assassin who's like brutally strong, but she's like very shy and quiet when she's not in her like kill mode.
So off the bat, it's kind of like, man, how are you a spy?
Right, right. Like I don't think he ever, to my memory, he has never picked up on it. Uh, and then to get to their target is they've been told to go through the school, so they need a kid. So he goes to adopt a child, and he goes to an orphanage and sees a bunch of kids, and sees this one girl who's like, he doesn't require much. He's like, she just needs to basically be a good kid who will listen and can read and write. And like, and they find out she can read and write, and she really shows that she can read and write because she can read minds. And from there, it just goes crazy. Like, he's good at keeping it a secret, but he thinks about his mission. So the kid knows what both of them are, and their name's Anya, by the way. Sorry, and it's Lloyd is the spy, the father, and Yor is the name of the assassin. Uh, and just Anya's relationship with her parents, because she likes them both. She wants to stay adopted, and she knows like she's one part worried that once the mission's over, she'll be given back. But at the same time, she wants to help him on her mission. She tries her best, and she's not that good at school. She just tried to fake as best she could to get adopted. She actually isn't very good at her studies. And we go from that to just like Lloyd going on certain missions, Yor going on, still getting assassination missions and stuff. Even had a great recent chapter that turned into a tennis battle arc with Lloyd and another spy who has a crush on him and wants to be his wife for the mission and his wife in real life. And she's super jealous of yours, so she wants to outdo her. And it just turns into this, I'm talking underground, illegal steroid using tennis battles against
Oh my
these
god.
super spies. If you're not reading this, it's fucking amazing. It's on the Viz app that you mentioned earlier. And it needs an anime. I think it would do well as an anime.
Yeah. I am going to take something a step further, as you do.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and not because I'm running out of things to talk about, but
Totally
because
not.
I really need this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give just one, because I feel like if I think about this, I'm gonna go further and further into the rabbit hole, and we will never return. Video game
Mm.
that you want to see an anime adaptation of,
Oh.
and I'm gonna throw Monster Hunter out there.
Monster Hunter could be amazing
Yeah,
as an anime.
yeah, yeah.
And like,
Definitely.
yeah, sorry.
Like I'm already like second guessing movie stuff. They did release a new trailer for that movie, and it did look a little bit better. Still, you know, cautiously optimistic about it. But oh man, an anime of of Monster Hunter, just the world of Monster Hunter. Maybe almost pretty much in the style of I guess Goblin Slayer would be real great.
You know what? I like that the Goblin Slayer route. Like, kind of
Mm,
taking. I'm taking that to mean like maybe a little bit more mature, even though it's not like a super mature game. It's just it is
mm,
violent, I guess technically. But honestly, now picture this right here. I'm gonna give you a sales pitch on your own idea.
okay.
So take Demon Slayer's best fights
Uh huh.
and just make an episodic hunt.
Hmm.
Every episode is a standalone, or maybe even two episodes if you absolutely need to. But just imagine
Right.
every episode a different monster with Demon Slayer level animation epicness of how they take down one of the monsters. No overarching
Yes.
story. No great monster you have to fight to get back to your own world because you're military from the normal fucking. I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to go there. Just hunting. In every
Hmm.
episode, a new monster that's beautifully animated, taken down in an epic style with four hunters, each using a different weapon. You're seeing the tactics that you can use in the game. The palicos are adorable. We'll even throw in the new palamutes if we want to from Rise. Yeah, so I would love it. No, it's just a show you can kick back and enjoy the hunt.
Yeah. Well, what if? Okay, so what if they went in like like a 5 or 6, kind of frame story arc, right?
Okay.
In the first 4 episodes or whatever, they'll introduce a different hunter, using like maybe a different fighting style or something like that. maybe with their palico hunting some certain monster or something like that. And then your fifth and sixth episodes are like a two-parter where like the four previous hunters that they introduce have to team up together to fight something big.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, I
Yeah,
could get behind that.
like something to that, or just they could even introduce a bunch of characters and sort of like interchange them, or we could even go another route with it and make it an isekai and have somebody hit by a fucking truck and get transported to the monster hunter world where they have to like
Truckcoon.
yeah.
No. Clearly, you're gonna get if you're gonna get isekai into the world, you have to be at the right place at the right time in the middle of a desert around four fucking columns in a thunderstorm, and get warped in there to fight a fucking Diablos with Tony Jaa.
It sounds like you've already read the entire synopsis of this movie.
Like, look, I agree with you that the trailer we saw, which was the international trailer, I believe it was like a Chinese trailer for a trade show or something like that, or something like advertising it. They took out the entire isekai factor. If you didn't
Right.
know that Mila Jovovich was from our world, you'd never know. You just think she was a rookie trainer hunting monsters. And it made the trailer so much better
Hmm.
for me. And I hope I'm wrong. I always hope I'm wrong whenever I'm negative about something. But like I feel like I'm still gonna like this movie, but that's gonna
Hmm.
bother me. You know what I
Right.
mean? Um, I think mine is gonna be somewhat obvious, and but at the same time, it's like you maybe because it's had an anime,
Hmm.
it's had movies, CG movie, it's had several adaptations, but none of them have been done great, if I can say. And that's Final
Hmm.
Fantasy.
Oh.
Like we got a short OVA back on VHS. I would love to track them both down. I regret ever getting
What are
rid
you
of my disc.
talking about? Spirits Within is like the greatest movie of our generation, Sean.
No, no, it's not.
How is that a
All right.
Final Fantasy movie?
There was a chocobo on somebody's briefcase,
Oh, that it all makes
and a
sense now.
character named Sid. It's in
Oh,
there.
I forget about it.
That's
Yes.
literally it. And Michael Baldwin was in it.
Oh man.
But no, I've not even gotten to that. Just there was an anime. It was like a 6 episode little OVA. It was very short. I think it was like 2 VHS tapes back in the day. I don't know if it ever even got
Hmm.
a DVD release. I know Matt and Kapow had one of them at least, and I haven't seen it since. I really need to remember to ask him about it, add it to the horde. But it wasn't about any specific game. It was just kind of set in the world. It had a bit of a five feel. I know, I'm sure you don't know what that means, but it felt like part five a little bit in its tone, maybe when it came out, because it's an older one. Then they had
Yeah.
a TV series that honestly, admittedly, I've never watched because it didn't look a damn thing like Final Fantasy. I forget what it was fully called. It was Final Fantasy something or another. Then they made Spirits Within, and this is during the PS2 era, where all they were cared about was, hey, you know what people like about our games? Our CG cutscenes. So let's take this generic sci-fi story and call it Final Fantasy. Slap a chocobo on that random character's briefcase as he's running, and call that dude Sid. And we can call it Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within. And Sean will go see it in the movie theaters, buy the DVD, buy a sealed VHS from said Matt at Kapow Comics, located in Sherwood, Arkansas. And then we got as time went on, it just kind of, I've liked it less and less. Is Advent Children, Final Fantasy VII, the
Right.
sequel. It's some beautiful fights, but nothing much else to the movie anymore for me. Like I remember really liking it when it came out, and watching it repeatedly, and the story is just fucking confusing. But there's some good fights and a beautiful like metal rendition of One Winged Angel Sephiroth's theme. But what I want is a long running version. No surprise here, I'm sure, of Final Fantasy VI, because I feel like out of all of them, at least the early ones and even the later ones would make good adaptations. You know, because early on, a lot of the Final Fantasies, admittedly, were very kind of cut and paste. You know, very your standard fantasy setting: save the world, collect the crystals, move on. You know what I mean? Like defeat the
Mhm.
bad guy. As much as I love them, but the early ones are very cut and dry like that. 6 has war, racism, classism, and just like the destruction of, like, imagine, like, if y'all listen to our episode with Jordan where we discussed Final Fantasy 6. I probably said way more than I should have since he hadn't played it, but he didn't seem to know about it. But like, it's an old game, so fuck y'all. Y'all should have already played it by now. But like with the World of Ruin, with like, imagine that being the season finale of when Kefka wins and destroys the world into his own and reshapes it in his own image. Like with 13 characters, you have a large cast. Everyone can, and it could be just a fantasy steampunk uh, mature story for a Super Nintendo game. The story was actually very mature, dealing with loss and death and just grieving and acceptance. Like there's so many levels. Suicide, like children losing all their parents and just trying to figure out how they're gonna live is actually is one of the major plot points. I think 6 deserve, like, as much as like 7 gets remade and gets adaptations, and a lot of other ones have gotten sequels and remakes. 6 has not.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna say Final Fantasy 6 for a video game that needs an anime.
Absolutely needs an anime, huh, Sean?
Absolutely needs an anime. More so than 7 needs another fucking remake, adaptation, boring ass game. I said
Oh,
it. I said it. I lost interest in the remake. I don't care.
oh no!
I don't
Our
care.
5 followers, come
All
back!
5 of them are gone now. Well, brother,
uh,
we have actually hit our time. Unless you have more you absolutely need to discuss, we can go long. We can do whatever we want.
um,
We run this channel.
well, so I've got one announcement.
Sure, sure. Go ahead. Go
Um,
ahead.
just something that was announced this week that I thought was pretty cool. I don't know if you've heard about yet. And I figured, it deserves some kind of discussing or just
Sure.
bringing up. So this week, and God don't ask me because I'm not even sure. But there were 3 separate posts on 3 separate, I think it was anime or My Hero Academia Twitter pages, right?
Uh huh.
And all the post had was like a picture, and it had a character, and it had like, and you basically saw the character from like maybe the nose down, so you see like their costume, and then it has like a Roman numeral 1, and it has like part of a phrase on it. Um, so what the picture combined to, because each one of these different Twitter accounts posted a different part of the picture, and it pretty much says he will meet the 3 Musketeers, and the announcement is for the a third My Hero Academia movie allegedly.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be coming out after season 5. Now, the interesting thing about it, and I've seen a little bit of people discussing, so this isn't my original thoughts, but I did think it was always interesting because they have the abilities all for one and one for all,
Yeah.
which is a big Musketeers theme.
Right.
So it's interesting that they put in here he will meet the 3 Musketeers, and then it has Todoroki, Midoriya, and holy shit, I'm spacing on the name right now.
Ba-
Kachan, um,
Bakugo.
Bakugo. Thank you. Yeah. So and it shows those 3 characters, from like the chin down or whatever, and they're like geared up. I'll have to share this to you later, but it looks like they've got something planned. I don't know. You still haven't watched the last movie, right?
I have not been able to know.
I think that it's finally up on Amazon maybe.
Okay.
Would definitely recommend checking it out. I liked it more than the first movie that they put out because the the movies sometimes don't really hold a grain of salt, with like
Yeah.
the series overall. And one of the biggest things for me on My Hero Academia is all the side characters and cool stuff that they do with them. And then, of course, in a movie, you're pressed for time, so you don't really get to debut a lot of them.
Right.
And in the second movie, they got to do that a bit more. And they also it showed off a lot of really cool shit, like stuff that supposedly was supposed to be how the series was originally going to end.
Yeah, that was my
Which
understanding about it. Like
yeah.
the creator was going to end the series actually a bit earlier than either pressured to, as it does happen in the manga industry, or
Hmm.
he kind of changed his mind how he wanted it to end. So yeah, I'd heard there were aspects of the original ending in that new movie.
Right. Yeah, and so I don't know. I'm kind of somewhat hoping with the them planning the release of this after the fifth season. Like, who knows? Like where the manga is going to be by then? You know, like for all we know, because we haven't got any kind of announcement that it's ending. But
No.
it could be over, and this movie
Yeah.
could just be like a just a shot to like the future and what
Um.
things be like when they're like pro heroes and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
definitely interested in wondering where this is going to go. The suits do look a lot different. They're very tactical,
Like they look
looking lots.
like
Look,
professional maybe. But
yeah,
yeah, you might
lots
be
of
onto
pouches and stuff too.
it. Well, Rob Liefeld has been very influential in there. Yeah, no, without seeing the pictures, but just from your description, that's immediately what the image I'm getting is that
Mhm.
because we've discussed, and I know I think I mentioned even earlier this very episode that the current what's currently going on in My Hero without them announcing this is the final arc, it feels
Mhm.
very final arc, and
Right.
so like a time jump, even if it's not like the manga made time jump, which it would I would kind of not like, but
Right.
like a movie, I could
Hmm.
kind of be a little bit okay with that showing them when they hit pro level and maybe there's a new, not a replacement for Deku or anything, but just a
Hmm.
new young up and coming hero, in this new to the school going to learn to be a hero. Maybe a cool tie into someone we've seen earlier, any of the young kids they worked with or something. But that would be a cool premise for a movie. I think I'd be all right with that. Kind of a because just because we see it in the movie doesn't mean it's going to be the absolute future of the anime.
Hmm.
So no, that sounds interesting. I'd be very
Yeah.
interested to see that movie. I do need to watch the new one. If it's on Amazon, I have no more excuses. I just need to watch it.
Right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's up there. Um, Yeah, I did want to point out that speaking of movies and things that are on Amazon and all that
Yeah.
business on HBO Max, I did watch Birds of Prey last night.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. What did you think?
Thought it was okay.
Hmm.
I wasn't blown away by it. I
Right.
know you enjoyed it,
Yeah.
um, and I don't know exactly what it was. It might just be like I'm not a super Harley Quinn fan like you. I could definitely see the appeal and all of the fan service stuff that they gave you for that character.
Right.
Um, but like I don't know, there were just certain things for each character that just wasn't necessarily there for me.
Oh yeah.
Um, I I did like because I didn't think they were going to do it because the movie went on for so long. But the Sonic Scream by Black Canary,
Yeah.
I was like, man, they're really not gonna do this. She's just gonna be like, a fist fighter or whatever, and like they're never gonna touch. And then they finally used her ability, and I think they only used it once the whole movie, which was a
Yeah.
little sad.
Yeah, you got a
Um,
hint of it when she's standing in the in the club that she
yeah, in
cracks
the
a
class,
glass, but then
right?
yeah. So let me clarify for you,
Okay.
because it's called Birds of Prey that I always refer to it as such. But what I
Hmm.
liked was the fabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn
Right.
aspect of this movie. I think Margot Robbie was finally given the chance to be Harley and not just
Hmm.
booty shorts and a baby tee.
Right.
And it I have not watched it since the first time, and I may go back, and the many flaws may not be as forgivable anymore
Hmm.
because like it's not a good adaptation
Right.
of the Birds of Prey,
Hmm.
but it is a good Harley Quinn movie.
Yeah.
And you're right, if you're not, I'm a Harley guy, and I've warmed up to the newer Harley, and Margot Robbie was that entire film for me.
Yeah. 100%.
As good as the actress now, especially seeing her in Lovecraft Country for Black
Oh, I know.
Canary, she didn't really
Yeah.
have much to do. I think Huntress was flat out a terrible interpretation, and not just of the Huntress, just of a character.
Who's the Huntress?
She was the one that
You mean?
couldn't
Oh, you mean the crossbow killer?
crossbow killer who can't introduce herself because she's nervous.
Right, right.
Batgirl was just a thief that was called Bat
Yeah,
that was
that
given a Batgirl name for no fucking reason.
that was a very interesting choice.
I did love Rosie Perez as Montoya.
I love Rosie Perez. I'm not sure that I loved her as Montoya.
Hmm. And maybe
It
because I
was
don't know Montoya outside of like the New 52, which
yeah,
became the question, that may have been a
yeah,
bad interpretation of her, which I'm sure it is because there was outside of Harley, there was no good interpretations of any characters.
yeah.
So like, let me like understand that I'm also graded on a curve.
Right, right.
Like for a DC movie, for me to get any enjoyment out of it, I can say I liked it because these
Yeah,
days that's hard to say. Like so,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If you're not a Harley super fan, you're not going to find much out of it if you haven't enjoyed the other aspects of the DC cinematic universe as it is currently.
Right, right. Yeah, and I mean, honestly, um, oh man, I can barely remember Suicide Squad. Like,
It's for
I
the
feel like
best.
that movie was very forgettable to me. But I am somewhat optimistic about the next one. Isn't James Gunn directing
James
that?
Gunn's directing it, which
Yes.
again, even if it is, because as happy as I am that James Gunn's directing it, because Suicide Squad's first failings of trying to be a James Gunn movie,
Yeah.
I feel like that was the weakest point where they were trying to go dark, and you could tell it was originally shot to be a dark, serious movie, which DC wants all their movies to be, but not for the right characters.
Yeah.
Suicide Squad is where you can go that route, but then Guardians of the
Hmm.
Galaxy was a mega blockbuster, so of course Warner Brothers was like, put humor in it, put Bohemian Rhapsody
Right.
in the trailer because Ooga Chaka.
Yeah.
You could just it felt so unbalanced.
Hmm.
So now they cut out all that bullshit and all like we're our own thing. We're not trying to be like Marvel. Hey, come make our Guardians of the Galaxy, And they got James Gunn, so they're gonna do it right for what they
Yeah.
were trying to attempt to do. Whether it'll be good or not, I don't know. I'm not saying James Gunn is a perfect director, but I think he's a good choice for the Suicide Squad. And just based on the teaser character reveal trailer,
Yes.
he's gonna have a lot of fucking fun with it.
Yeah, yeah, and I think if anything else, even if it's like a bad movie, it looks like it's going to be so goddamn fun. And
Yeah,
then, not to mention, they already announced a side project that's going to be taking place on HBO Max.
yeah.
And I can't remember the character that it was going to be.
Peacemaker or Peacekeeper, John
That's
Cena's
right.
character. Yeah.
Yes, they're going to do a little side
Hmm.
series for that character and everything. And like honestly, like if it's fucking John Cena playing a character that's like just overly acted and just ridiculous, and not to mention the costumes like absolutely ridiculous. I'm like 110% in on that.
No,
Like,
I'll definitely be checking that out.
oh yeah, yeah.
Uh,
It's I mean, and like I don't think there's any reports of any Joker being in it, so that's even
no,
better.
no, they're too
Um,
busy with him, or apparently having a part in the. Everyone's so damn excited about it. I don't understand why the fucking Snyder cut. Although
I know.
they're already saying though that Joker's not going to look like he did in Suicide Squad. Reports are saying
Yeah.
it
Well,
is
that
Leto, which goes to what I've said about Leto. I think he could play a good Joker. He just needs a better director and a better look. But
right,
I don't trust Zack Snyder any better with what he made of Justice League. You know what I mean?
man.
Like, and I like Zack Snyder. I know we've discussed it before at some points.
Mhm.
I liked his Watchmen adaptation. I like Sucker Punch, which a lot of people didn't. You know, uh,
Yeah, I enjoyed Sucker Punch. Yeah.
People hate on that movie. I don't get it. I hear the reasons, and I still just look at them like they're weird.
Mhm.
But what I wanted to say though, like going back to Birds of Prey, was because even if the adaptations are bad, you can find good in it. You know what I mean? If it
Yeah.
feels like I always go back to Constantine, the Keanu Reeves
Oh,
adaptation of Hellblazer.
mhm.
You look at it as an adaptation of Hellblazer, it's a complete piece of shit. But it was so good, and I had only read a little Hellblazer by that point that I saw it. but I knew enough to know that Keanu was not blonde, British, and looking like Sting from his '80s days. Uh,
What?
but I still liked that movie enough that I didn't care. Know what I mean? Like it
Right.
had the feel. It had the kind of it had touched on certain plot points from the comics to enough to where I didn't mind the changes. Now, like movies like Birds of Prey, I'll say. Again, Harley, Margot Robbie's portrayal of Harley as the modern Harley was entertaining and fun, which for
Hmm.
me as a Harley fan was enough to forgive the fact that Black Mask only wore his mask for like what 5 minutes. That
Uh,
the Huntress is the crossbow killer who barely wore any purple. They couldn't even just put a purple side stripe
I,
on her pants.
I feel like
Something
I feel like the Black Mask thing was more of a Ewan McGregor thing than it was
maybe
like her
maybe I
thing.
don't know
Yeah.
if he insisted on having his face, his beautiful face on camera. I don't know. I don't care. I just can only go by what happened on the film, and I get why people wouldn't enjoy it. But I have heard some people who shit on this movie but still praise Suicide Squad. And I'm like, you can go fuck yourself. This is
How?
even if you don't like some aspects, this is way better than fucking Suicide Squad, and way better than Justice League and Batman v Superman. It's honestly I think it's better than Wonder Woman. I said it.
Ooh,
I said it
man.
because Wonder
Well,
Woman was only okay to me.
yeah. Well, like in terms of like fun, I would definitely say that. In terms of like, like grand scheme and scale and stuff, like Wonder Woman definitely was there
Oh,
at that.
absolutely. Like honestly, and to be fair, you can't really compare the two. They're tonally
Yeah.
100% different. So we'll put it up
Right.
against Shazam, their comedy,
Yeah.
or Suicide
Hmm.
Squad, their failed attempt at comedy. you know,
Hmm.
I
Right.
think
Right.
Birds of Prey is above both of them. Now, compared
Hmm.
to Marvel's worst comedic superhero, and I don't like to compare the companies because I'm not a
Yeah. Yeah.
Marvel. We're not. Neither one of us are just Marvel elite fanboys. But
Yeah. Yeah.
like compared to what the other DC properties is, I think Birds of Prey. I enjoyed Birds of Prey because even the parts I was mad about and groaned about, at least it got a reaction. That's more
Yeah.
so than what I found wrong and boring and dull and not even worth discussing in Justice League and Batman v Superman, who to me
It's
those
true.
are the worst films in the current DCU.
Yeah. And like I've been sitting over here clicking through like some of the images and stuff for character designs and stuff like that for the next Suicide Squad,
Mm-hmm.
and like, oh man, can I say they like are straight up perfecting her look in this next movie.
Oh yes,
Yeah, I did not like just the design with the past pastel hair that they were
mm-hmm.
doing for her.
Yeah,
I don't know, it just didn't really appeal to me. Not like, in a way of like she's got to be hot or anything like that. It's just like, I don't know, just like that washed out sort of like someone who's dyed their hair and like not kept up with it type of look.
yeah, yeah. No, I
Yeah,
get you, and that's the
yeah.
thing too. Like you don't have to sex up Margot Robbie.
Right,
She's
right.
a beautiful woman. You could put her
Yeah.
in a dumpy potato sack and she'll still be hot.
Yeah.
So that's what the booty shorts and baby teeth seem unnecessary.
Yeah,
Now, granted,
seriously.
and I'll admit, yeah, most of the costuming was very weird. Although Margot Robbie apparently had a little more input in Birds of Prey,
Mhm.
so that was taking control of the character, which I can appreciate. Her
Yeah.
performance outweighed the weird caution tape jacket she
Oh yeah.
had. It's fine, but then we got James Gunn's Suicide Squad trailer, and now we're gonna rewind to 2006 or whenever the fuck Suicide Squad came out, roughly around the same time that Arkham City, the video game, came out, and
Oh yeah.
I saw Harley Quinn in a leather like bustier top, whatever halter top, leather
Mhm.
pants with the half black, half red, and I'm like, that's the movie costume right there. The
Yeah.
pigtails that everyone insists on showing her in, because the hat, I admit, I know her jumpsuit doesn't work in real life. They had a brief segment which was a nice recreation. It's like the only compliment I can give Suicide Squad. And they had that
Yeah.
brief moment where they recreated the Alex Ross painting of Joker and Harley. He's in the
Mhm.
tux, she's in her suit. They did that nicely, but that costume, it does. I know it doesn't work in real life. And now James Gunn threw a jacket on it, which made it look just that much better. But he basically took her outfit from Arkham City by stealing my brain thoughts because I've been saying it for years.
Yeah.
And he put her in the perfect Harley Quinn suit. She has the blonde hair, not the dyed tips, which again in the comics that's what she has now that she doesn't wear her mask anymore. Her the full headpiece.
Right.
But they only recently did kind of the dyed ends because at one point she had a half and half hair completely, and I don't know, it never worked on screen with what they'd done. So
Yeah.
yeah, I 100% agree that and plus all these other characters that he's taken from because he purposely grabbed from the E list characters for a lot of this, but like from one of the ones I recognized, they looked on point to the comic,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah,
yeah.
and that's like where I live whenever it comes to DC characters and villains is the fucking E list.
Oh yeah, oh I
Uh,
know. I mean, you're a Creeper fan.
yeah, yeah,
He might he's not F list because I don't know F going back to school is always like a bad list, but man nobody knows the Creeper, and I think it's a shame. I think he's a wacky, interesting character.
yeah,
Now like now imagine that. Imagine if you saw that reveal trailer and Creeper was in the Suicide Squad.
yeah. I know, right? I need it. Make it happen.
Now you never know. Yeah, if he makes more, he may pull him out of nowhere. But yeah, that's like I said, I think your assessment is fair because you're not the biggest Harley fan. Because Harley
Hmm.
carried that movie because for me she made me not as mad about literally every other character being wrong. And
Right,
not just wrong because it's different, wrong because it's bad. Like they weren't
right.
interesting. They weren't nothing but a few quirks here and there. We don't actually have a personality to give the huntress, so she's really nervous about introducing herself. What the fuck
Yeah.
is that? You don't need to have all the characters be super wacky and have these weird quirks. You have Harley fucking Quinn in your movie,
Yeah.
who's clearly stealing the show. So
Yeah, and that one little moment whenever she was going through the police station and she saw that wanted poster for Boomerang was pretty great too. Like, oh,
right.
I know that guy.
But you had to give it up for the action scenes. They went out of their way though.
Oh, oh yeah, yeah, and it was brutal as hell. Like
Brutal as hell.
multiple breaking knees backwards, and I fucking winced every single time.
And a lot of the acrobatics and stuff, Margot Robbie did as much of it as she could.
Yeah,
There's a lot of sequences where like you see her like run up the walls and jump around and stuff. Like she did a lot of it herself. So like I give props when you can do it safely, as long as it doesn't make you have to leave the show like Ruby Rose and Batwoman. Because
yeah,
she was doing the same thing, and I could be wrong because I don't think she's ever given an official reason to leave, but it seemed to come shortly after she hurt herself on set.
right,
Not everyone can be
yeah,
Jackie Chan.
right. Don't try to be Jackie Chan, kids.
Do not try to be unless you can be. Then go do your best.
Right.
Well, I think that's going to about do it for today. Jerry, thank
Yeah,
you for an amazing topic when we started off with
yeah.
the anime. All the topics, man, you carried you picked it all today, and I approve.
Hey, man, I try. We come on this show, we don't know what the fuck we're gonna do ahead of time, and we throw something out there, and if it sticks to the wall, we'll fucking go through it.
That's what we'll do. And if you
Yeah,
guys liked hearing me and Jerry ramble on about all these many topics, almost said topics,
Tapics. Now they're
topics,
Tapics now.
all of our topics. Uh, please like, comment, let us know what you thought about what we discussed. Is there an anime you or manga you want to see animated, or an anime that needs a do-over? You know what I mean? Let us know what you think about that. What did you think of Birds of Prey? What do you think of what are some video games that need a good anime adaptation? Leave those
Yeah.
comments below, and also, as always, share the videos around. Let your friends know that there's something going on with these two nerds that maybe they might find entertaining. You never know; they might like us.
Yeah.
But that's gonna do it for now. We thank y'all once again, and yeah, we'll catch y'all later.
Peace.